All right, we will get started. Thank you so much for listening to our quarterly webinar. Today we are going to talk about something that should be at the top of your financial to-do list, which is establishing an emergency fund. My name is Jenna Witherby, and I'm one of the advisors on the 401k Plan Professionals team. And if you are unfamiliar with who we are or what we do, we are an independent group of advisors who solely focus on corporate retirement plans. And we assist employers and their employees with their retirement plans. Our plan is to quarterly conduct a webinar, so you can either catch it live or listen to the recording, but we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes and talk about a variety of topics, not just pertaining to the 401k, but just overall financial wellness, saving for retirement in general. We might do, saving for college or 401k loans or just, a variety of different topics to switch it up. And we're shooting for the second month of each quarter, so the next one will be in May and then August and November. Like I said, you can listen to the recorded link. We will send that out afterwards so you can listen to it at your convenience. You can also share it with others. So you could post it on your company's intranet. If you're a plan sponsor, you could forward it on to all of your employees or those in the retirement plan anyway. You could post a flyer in the break room. However you want to communicate it to people, you can do what you see fit. And it'll also be uploaded to our website and our YouTube channel. So let's talk about establishing an emergency fund. The fact of the matter is we will all incur unexpected expenses no matter who we are throughout our lives. And we either will have the money to pay for it or we won't. And if we don't have the money, we will probably turn to one of two things: putting it on a credit card or borrowing money. And borrowing money could be from a friend or family member, it could be from a bank or other financial institution, or it could even be from yourself, for example, borrowing from your 401k account. So let's talk about reasons to avoid putting the money on credit cards or borrowing it. You want to avoid going further into debt. Debt really can weigh you down, and it can make it hard to get by month with your cash flow. You want to avoid paying interest to another person or to a financial institution. Credit cards can have very high interest rates as well, some north of 20 or 25% even. So if you can imagine, if you don't pay that off right away in full, the interest can really accumulate quickly. You also want to avoid going into crisis mode and making other poor financial decisions. So how much money should you have saved in this emergency fund, and where should you save it? And here's where opinions may vary slightly, but you'll see some common points. Some advisors say just $1,000, flat amount, have $1,000 in an emergency fund. Some say have a certain number of months of your own expenses. So you may have heard 3 to 6 months. I've even heard 6 to 12 months. But that may feel overwhelming to some people. There are some that we say this and it sounds great, but they're going, gosh, I live paycheck to paycheck. There is no way I can save that much. And so I would just say, break it down into baby steps. First, focus on $500 to $1,000 and work your way up from there. As far as where to save it, the keys are to have the money be quickly accessible without incurring any fees. So oftentimes people will open a savings account at a bank or say a credit union and have that be just for their emergency fund. Or if you have an existing savings account, you could certainly add it into there. But again, the idea is to have easy and quick access to the money without having to incur any penalties or fees. How much is too much? And again, opinions may vary here, but we do believe that you may want to avoid stockpiling too much into your emergency fund. The amount that is enough will vary from person to person because everybody has different comfort levels and different investing styles, and everybody has different expenses. But in general, the reasons why you want to avoid putting too much into your emergency fund is that the interest rates are so low on savings accounts, so the money that's sitting in your emergency fund is probably not making much of interest, and that money could be working for you, either by way of paying down other debt that you have. So if you do owe debt or other interest to another financial institution or a person or whatever, you may be better off just paying down that other debt and or saving for retirement. So putting it to work for you in your retirement account or some other sort of investment account to earn interest for yourself. That's more than what you can get on a savings account right now. So where do I come up with this money? Sounds good, but really, where do we come up with it? And I think no matter who you are, a good practice every so often is to look at your budget, meaning look at your income versus your expenses. And this can be fancy with a web-based tool or software. It can be a pretty spreadsheet or template. But really, this can be as simple as getting out a piece of paper and having two columns. Here's my money coming in and money going out. And just the process of doing this, I think, can uncover some things that you can maybe cut out, maybe small things, maybe big things, but it may bring to light areas where you have a gap or a shortfall. It may uncover that you have a surplus, which would be great. And a lot of times, you might find you're spending money on things that you don't really need. You know, maybe it's some meals out instead of bringing your lunch from home, or a lot of stops to the coffee shop, or that extra big cable package that you never really watch. So I think it's a good practice for everybody. There's also a way you can make savings automatic. A lot of banks will transfer money from checking to saving automatically with no fee. So you could say, you know, the first of every month, transfer $25 from checking to savings. It's done behind the scenes. You don't have to remember to do it. It's going on. And that $25 a month can add up over time. Also, you could check with your employer. They might have a way where you can set up automatic transfers from your paycheck to another account. Another good rule of thumb is to consider putting in a portion of a raise or a bonus into an emergency fund if you don't have it established yet. That was money you were living without before, so think of that as just extra that you can tuck aside. So what about my 401k? Isn't it important to be saving for retirement? And yes, of course it's important to save for retirement. We say focus on your emergency fund first, and then when you have that completed, or at least a really good handle on it, then save for retirement, save at least the amount to get the full match if your company offers a match, and then turn to other debt, especially high interest rate non-deductible debt, and or increase your savings. And the reason why having your emergency fund in your 401k or considering your 401k your emergency fund, the reason you don't want to do that is because the 401k is not as liquid. That is typically not money you can access quickly and easily without penalty. If you're under age 59 and a half, chances are you cannot pull money out of your 401k with your current employer at all. And let's say you do pull money out, there's a 10% penalty tax for early withdrawals in most cases. Also, 401k loans aren't always the answer for a few different reasons, but number one, your 401k plan might not even allow for loans. Not all plans allow for that. Also, when you are making the loan payments to yourself, those payments are made with after-tax dollars, and down the road, when you pull the money out again, it is taxed again. Also, this money isn't working for you. In other words, you've pulled it out, it's no longer invested, and you could potentially be earning, money on your investments had you left it in your plan. Lastly, if you leave your employer and you have an outstanding 401k loan, you either have to pay it off in full, or if you don't, the amount that you haven't paid off yet is deemed a distribution and you have to pay regular income taxes plus a penalty tax on that. Thank you again so much for listening, whether you caught it live or listened to the replay. But let our team know if you have any questions or comments on anything. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can contact our team at the number listed on the screen or send me an email to jenna.witherby@lpl.com. Thank you very much.